All right. So I want to welcome everybody to It's Grind Time. Let's Talk Business Startup. This show has been designed to provide practical advice to entrepreneurs who are in the midst of startup. My name is Jasmine, and I will be moderating the room for today. I would like to first start off and thank everybody for being here and introduce to you our hosts, Brian Hayden and Mike McFall. Brian is the co-founder and managing partner of Heat Spring, course and podcast creator of Redesigning the End, and is an entrepreneur in residence at the University of Michigan. Mike McFall went from barista to the co-founder and co-CEO of Big V Coffee with over 250 locations and growing. He is the author of Grind, a no bullshit approach to take your business from concept to cash flow, a Forbes contributor, a TEDx speaker, and an avid entrepreneur paving the way and making an impact for future leaders. And together, Mike and Brian teach a class at the University of Michigan called Finding Your Venture. Its focus is on entrepreneurialism as a method of solving problems and providing a lot of value to entrepreneurs in the startup phase of their business. Mike and Brian look forward to bringing you guys their expertise during this live Clubhouse event and bring impactful knowledge that we can all enjoy. Be prepared to bring your real issues and real problems as Mike and Brian promise to bring their best advice and give insight on how to improve your launch. I want to thank everybody for being here today and jump right into it. Mike and Brian, are we ready? How are we today, guys? I want to pass the mic off to you and introduce our guests for the day.
Thanks, Jasmine.
Yeah.
This is cool. I look forward to this. I'm doing great today. I'm excited for our class at 2:30, and just getting geared up for that. And this is such a great conversation to have leading into that. So, um, Dominique, welcome. I look forward to hearing your story and hearing what inspired you to venture off and do this, and how it's going, and trying to understand a little bit more about what some of your needs are, or what your concerns are at this moment in the development of your business, and hopefully we can weigh in. Brian, what about you?
Yeah, I can't wait. I was just on the website. I'm really excited. Dominique, I want to hear just what caused you to start it. How you got into this. The bags are beautiful. Yeah, I would love to hear your story.
Thank you. Um, I'm excited to be here. I guess I knew some of what was going on, but this is fantastic. I'm even more pumped right now. So, I guess I started sewing about 12 years ago when my kiddos were little, when we had our first son. And it has grown, and it was always a dream of mine to work with leather, but I thought it was out of my league. I was like, no way, that's too expensive, too much equipment. I don't even know where to get it. I know nothing about leather. And then about a year ago, I was making, or 2 years ago, I was making, working with a lot of canvas, wax canvas, and just duck cloth stuff. And I had decided to put a leather piece on the bottom and then work with the canvas on the top. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I did that for a minute. And then I decided to do a full bag in leather. And I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. This is what we're doing now. So I guess how I got started in it. And now I'm at the point where it's all leather and I love it and I can see it growing from here. It's something that I personally want to show my kids that like you can like you can just start something and make it grow and make it happen. And that is a huge inspiration to me, to just show them that you don't just have to go get a job, like you can create it yourself too. So I guess that's the startup of it.
Will you can you tell the story about your dad when you were a kid and you were bored? I think I love that when I read that on your website.
Yeah, so growing up, I have an older sister and a younger brother, and we it was never like, we were not sitting in front of the TV kind of people. We always had to be outside, we always had to be doing something. And whenever any of us would say, I'm bored, I don't know what to do, my dad would just say, go make something, go create, get outside and make something, go find all your crayons or whatever, and like just make something. And so it always pushed me in a way to just think of something new, to use my mind in a different way. That was like, okay, what are we going to make today, guys?
I love that.
I'm
I love
interested
that.
in, why do you think it's important to show your kids that you can create your own job? Was there like any sort of formative thing that you experienced or a person in your life that kind of introduced you to that concept?
My parents had their own business. It was a cleaning business downstate, and they they did that. But I guess to show my kids, I guess it's something that I'm scared of, something that I was never. I'm not like a natural like. I guess it doesn't come naturally for me to just get out there and do it. And so if I can do it, like I just want to show my kids that no, you guys can do it too. Like it's just talking to people. Like my son, for example, he is an entrepreneur already, but he is people shy. And so he's like, so I try and push him, like, no, just start talking to people. Like, I have to go do a photo shoot on the 24th. And I'm like, I don't want to, but like, we're going to do it. So I guess it's just letting them see me put myself out there. So it's an example for them.
A follow up to Brian's question would be why are you drawn to being an entrepreneur?
Um, it's fun. It's, it's, let's see, I guess I like creating something new and getting it out there. I think it's fun trying to figure out like who to talk to and where to go and not just go and do something 9 to 5.
Yeah, I think everybody here is nodding their head up and down. I love the same thing. I'm wondering, I was reading some of the information you submitted. Like, why grow? Why is that so important to you?
It would be nice. My husband is a very creative man himself, and I can see in the future, like 10 years from now, where this company could go. And I see it growing, and I would love it to just be our company together where we can, where this would be our income. So I'm trying to just grow it so that, so we can have this as our main income, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm hearing like relationships and working with others and getting people involved. That's kind of the what you see as like the most important part of this, and I can relate to that feeling. Mike, I don't know how you feel. I know you really value relationships too. Are you seeing the same thing here?
Yeah, to me, so much of what we do is about uh, the people that we're doing it with,
Hmm.
and the developing the relationships. And I had an epiphany probably, oh geez, it's probably going on 10 years ago now, where I realized that the people in my business partner, some other people that I engaged with. I mean, these were some of the primary relationships in my life, and they were going to be the primary relationships in my life. And so that was a big moment for me. I mean, prior to that moment, I was really focused on just getting the business to the point where it was sustainable and providing a living for me and so on. But then, once we sort of crossed that Rubicon, then it became like what's meaningful here, and really in the end what it came down to is the people and the relationships and the day-to-day support of the people in my organization. And so yeah, I absolutely relate to that. To me, that's the most meaningful stuff now.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm curious. I've noticed in like the 2022 sort of like strategic objectives, you had be brave, be confident, and I was just wondering why those stood out to you as like the key things to focus on this year.
Because I think I just have it's scary for me to try and make this grow. Right now I'm just one person trying to um trying to market, trying to and yeah, I mean this is great that I won this award thing or this gift, but like I've been trying to do everything on my own and I want to get to the next step. And that's scary for me. Like, how do I hire somebody? How do I, and then train them on either cutting or um, or like, do I get into retail stores and like try and market myself that way? I guess to be brave, it's like, okay, just go talk to somebody and see where it goes. Like I hired somebody over the holiday season because I was so overwhelmed with orders that it was like, okay, I need somebody. But now what's my next step on where to go for that? And so I guess it's just I have to have the confidence of like, no, this is growing and keep it going.
Mm.
Well, I think I love hearing the words. I had so many orders I couldn't manage it. Those are magical words. And Dominique, I'll just say, like you present yourself. I mean, at least through this format, you present yourself very confidently, and so you sound very confident. And sound very self-assured. So I think that's great. Um, one thing that I wanted to get into a little bit that I pulled from um, your website is I really wanted to find out, and this is kind of a detail thing, but I wanted to find out about your pricing strategy and how you came up with the prices that each bag has on it.
So it's a matter of the type of leather that I use, the expense of the leather, um, how much or how much hardware is on it, and then how long it takes me per bag that I make. Um, so it's just a simple process of like how much the leather is and how much time that it takes.
Okay. And so it's really I mean, almost a cost plus scenario, right? So you have a certain amount of time in each bag,
Hmm.
and then the raw materials cost you a certain amount, and then you mark it up accordingly.
Yes.
Well, one thing that I immediately struck me was I thought the bags were very reasonably priced.
Uh-huh.
And it's I have been recently introduced in the last 7 8 years to the concept of the what do we call them, designer brands, right? My wife enjoys a couple of the designer brands, and I'm just like I'm blown away by what they charge for these things,
Yeah.
and I was there. What I want to talk about is development of a brand, and then pricing accordingly or in relation to that brand. And there's a in the luxury space, which I put your bags in that category for sure, right? By the design, by the look. I was really blown away by the pricing on it. And there's this concept in luxury brands where it's almost like if you price it at a higher price point, it will draw more attention. And I'm wondering if you've thought about or explored doing some you know, significantly higher price point bags, and then also having the more affordable price points.
Hmm. I have thought about that, and it has been on my to-do list. And part of it, so last year was my first year that I actually paid attention to, because I last year was the year that I was like, okay, this is going to become something, and I have to start focus, like paying attention to the numbers of everything. And after looking at the numbers, I was like, oh, maybe I need to increase my prices. But again, that's a scary thing because of the marketing. Because, well, like this is where I'm at and I'm selling, but then how do I get to that next price point? Although part of me is like, you need to do it, because looking at numbers, I'm like, I got to do it. Um, so,
Well,
um,
I think one way to think about it would be to um, to differentiate some brands within your world. And I'm going to try to explain this. So Dominique Bags can be an overarching brand, but you could also have different brands or is it, you wouldn't call it a brand. What would you call it? It's
Like
like
series, like
series, like a series of bags, right?
hmm
Limited edition. You do X number of bags in that series, and they're priced at,
Which she does have, the Michigan, Superior, Huron,
hmm
Ontario, the Great
yeah,
Lakes,
yep,
for
yep,
sure.
yep, yeah. I saw that, and so, but then taking one of those and you I guess you'd have to differentiate the product to some degree,
hmm
but and then just putting a higher price point on it and
hmm
see like how great would it be if all of a sudden 3 or 4 orders roll in at the higher price point and that bag doesn't cost any more to make than the other ones.
Yeah. Um, I had just had this conversation with my cousin on my aunts and uncles. They all call me Minnie. It's in my name, Dominique. And my cousin says I already have like the 10 Dominique bags, but what if I did like a mini series?
There you go.
And the whole thing was like it's a different leather and do use different dyes, and so it would be like and like wooden handles, and so it would be like a much sturdier, classier looking bag. And so that like I was just thinking about this last weekend when I saw her, and it was like, okay, I need to try that. But currently I have 5 orders I'm trying to finish. And so
Right. I will just I will advocate a book called The E-Myth. I don't know if you know it.
Mhm.
It's by Michael Gerber. I
Okay.
think it would be a great read for you. It's a pretty simple read, but it's very powerful. And the basic premise is that you have to differentiate roles within your organization for yourself, right? So,
Mhm.
um, you Brian, you probably have better recall on this, but one is the entrepreneur, one is a developer, and then one is a manager. I think those are the three. It's been a while since I read it, but it definitely sounds like you have a quagmire, right? You have products rolling, orders rolling in that you have to fulfill, and of
Mhm.
course you need to fulfill those. But then you've got this dilemma of needing to work on the business, right? And to think about strategies and branding and marketing and so on. So
Mhm.
I think the E-Myth would be a great read for you right now in your stage of development.
Sounds great.
Yeah, and you even reference it in your 10-year vision here, Dominique. You're saying run the
Yep.
business, not work in the business.
Yep.
I
Mhm.
wonder, like, what are the roles? Like, we could even just kind of go through some of them right now. Like, what are the buckets of jobs to be done? How do you spend your time? And then that might help kind of break down, or make obvious where there's a potential to have someone else do those roles, and where, what's the last role that you'd hang on to because that's the most important or most fulfilling.
Right. um that's like it's hard, right? So there's the marketing, obviously, which to me takes up so much time. There's the photo shoots, there's um, the cutting, the stitching, the dyeing, the so like actual production side of it, um, and then the books, which make me crazy. So I would give that one up real quick.
Wait, what's the books, like the
Yeah,
accounting?
yeah, the
Okay,
Oh
got it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
account. Uh, and then I guess just like always, so it's always like coming up with something new, right? Because for me, like, I don't want to just keep making the same bag over and over and over. Like, yes, I have a few bags that I always like to keep um, on hand, but like to constantly, just to be thinking about like, okay, what other series can we do, or what other route can we take for this,
Hey Brian, you and I had this conversation last week that you know one of the things that I always focus on in a business is being able to uh, duplicate or to replicate simply, quickly, and then increase volume of sales. And so, Dominique, I just want to challenge you. Would it be a bad thing to? Sorry, I guess I should ask that more. It sounds to me like it's a bad thing to replicate. And I'm sitting here thinking, boy, if you had 25 of a certain bag on the shelf, and you were getting 2 or 3 orders a week on that bag, why is that? Why is that bad?
I guess I didn't mean like replicate the same like okay, well, I'll take the Wanderer right now, which I'm staring at. So it's like a travel bag. It's a carry-on size. So that is a bag that I always want to have on hand. But to only like, so what I meant was like if I had 10 different style bags, I don't only want to stick with that 10 style bags. I want to keep those on hand, but then I also want to expand it into like this mini series that I was talking about, and to come up with another series that can where I have that the core 10 but then do different series. So I guess that's what I was meaning of not always making the same thing.
So I wrote down 4 buckets of how you spend your time. So there's making the bags, there's
Mhm.
selling the bags, there's like accounting and paperwork, and then there's like product development and strategy, vision for the future.
Mhm.
Which is the one? What's the one that you like the best, and what's the one that you like the worst?
Um and marketing, can we throw that in there?
Yeah, like I lump that in with selling, like marketing and sales, like
Oh,
just you know the website
uh
and all the activities to like get make a sale.
I love doing the creative side of it and brainstorming and coming up with new designs. I love that part. The selling, like going and talking to people, I love, but to do it on the computer, I'm not, that's not my thing. um and so those two, like the creative part of it and then the, I guess, selling, I guess.
Yeah. How about the making of the bags?
Yeah, I love making bags. I guess I'd want to. I mean, but I would be willing. So the girl that helped me over the holidays, like she came in and she did all my cuts for me, and then I did the stitching of it because again, like the machines that I use are heavy duty beasts. And so it's very intimidating and it takes practice to learn those. And so during the holidays, I was like, we don't have time to teach you how to use these. Like, how about you just cut and I will stitch it. So I could see in the future giving that up. So the 10-year plan, I could see just running it and like teaching people how to do each of those steps.
Yeah. Mike, I'm just kind of like starting to think about how to build an organization. So
Yep.
there's, building the organization yourself there, but what are some other creative ways to build an organization without hiring a bunch of employees and having a whole bunch of cash on hand?
Well, I think the one thing that pops into my mind was that, talking about the sort of admin stuff, the bookkeeping. I mean, I don't think it's hard to find somebody to take that task off your hands for, whatever it would be, 4 hours a week or, 10 hours a week or whatever that takes. And, that to me is would free up time. I mean, there's an obvious expense there, but
Mm-hmm.
for many of my franchise owners have somebody that um, does their books.
Mm-hmm.
And, someone might have, 10, 12, 15 customers that they do that for, a bookkeeper. And, that can be a nice way to offload what sounds like work you don't really enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, spending some time in research, there's always, you got to, the problem with these kinds of things is it takes effort, right? You've got to have time to search and then you got to, but, just putting it out in the world that this is what you're looking for, for me anyway, it's pretty magical how people just kind of appear, and the
I'll
next
agree.
thing you know, you've got somebody who's a great candidate. And
Yeah.
so, that was one way that I thought, I mean, it's not rocket science, but go ahead and offload that piece if you struggle with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to do a deep dive on marketing and sales because I think it's
Yeah.
something that Mike and I like the best, and it's clearly something that has potential importance if you want to grow 10x. Did you want to reset the room real quick, Jasmine,
Yes,
before we
I
do
did.
that?
I was just about to jump in and say what a great time to do that. Real quick, guys, I'm going to reset the room for everybody that's joining and listening. We are here with Mike McFall and Brian Hayden, and you are in the It's Grind Time, Let's Talk Business Startup Room. I want you guys to know that you can follow Mike and Brian or engage with them on social media. You can click the link here to our link tree or find us on the at It's Grind Time link tree. All of their resources are there. Highly recommend going on to Finding Your Venture podcast or going to grindthebook.com to find both resources for both Mike and Brian. So thank you guys all for being here today. Give everybody on stage a follow and let's get back to it.
So, Mike, I think that you and I could go off for a long time on marketing and sales and have a bunch of suggestions and ideas. But first, Dominique, I was thinking maybe you could talk a little bit about how you're getting customers now.
I have a good friend of mine who is he is a marketing, like, he does all the marketing for a big brewing company up in northern Michigan, and he's pretty much an artistic genius. And we get in many conversations about marketing. And he had said one time that the more you push your stuff on Facebook and Instagram, the further it goes. And so, really, that's what I've been doing. And there's been 3 times where I've had to pull back from posting anything because it gets too busy for one person. And um, so I guess that's been my main marketing. And then the other would be I sell them at a brewery in town, a different brewery here. And they have got this last summer was pretty busy in that over there. And so it's just been word of mouth, word of mouth, word of mouth, really.
So, talk about the social media. Like you had to stop. That's as a marketing and salesperson, I'm like, that's crazy. Like, why did you have to stop? And like, how did that go? What was happening?
I just realized that, like, posting every day, it really does push it further, and it really does bring more views to everything. And then all of a sudden my sales were going from, like, people I have no idea who they are, which is like, oh, this is amazing. Okay, sale. Okay, wait, and then I'm getting custom orders on top of the sales. And so it's not just like the stuff that I've already made, but it's also custom orders. And so then if I sell a couple things, I have to, remake those to keep them on the website and then do the custom orders, where it just takes time. And so it's like, okay, back off, not posting anything for a couple days, rewind, and then reset again.
Can I just have you go into a little bit more detail about this custom order thing? Um, that sounds like a bottleneck to me. A red blinking light went off in the back of my head about custom orders. You know, if we're getting enough orders for the I don't know what we call them, non-custom items,
Uh-huh.
what's the draw to the custom orders?
I think so. What I've noticed within this last year of custom orders is that people love to pick out their leathers, and people love to have a say in how it looks. Or, like, one of the custom orders I'm working on right now, this woman has a very large laptop, and she hasn't been able to find the right style bag that fits the laptop and all the other stuff. And so we created a bag together that will work for her. And so it's like, there's times where I'm like, ah, these custom orders are driving me crazy. But then other times I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it's so
Yeah.
fun talking with people and having them touch the leathers and feel the leathers, and then
And
what they
what's the price point?
of the custom orders.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
450.
it depends on the bag. And that's something I have not made. I haven't increased the price point for a custom because I haven't yet.
Yeah. That is again a little bit of a flashing light for me, right? Like I don't know what the price point is, but that work sounds like you're super invigorated by it and you love it, and but it could also be getting in the way of the development of the other side of the business, which is these non-custom items that can be on the shelf that you just pull off the shelf. And I think it sounds to me like it would be um, easier to train somebody on producing the standard items,
Hmm.
and then you could spend time in the custom space
Mhm.
I mean, but as long as the price point is appropriate, you know. I can't even imagine what like a custom bag, like what would we pay for a custom bag in my household? I like that's it's a big number, you know. It really is. You know, I mean, the premium brands are getting, you know, anywhere from 1,200 to, well, I mean, it obviously goes to infinite almost, but you know, but to think about being able to customize a bag, that's incredible, right? And so anyway, I think that sounds to me like something to explore,
Mhm.
because that could be the premium price point. That could be the, you know, the $2,000 bag or the $3,000 bag, and it's like, well, that's it's custom. You get to pick everything. Like that I kind of got fired up over that.
Fired up in a good way or a bad
Yeah,
way?
yeah, no, good way. But as long as the pricing's appropriate, you know, like if it's going to sideline you for a day or 2 days to build a custom bag, I mean, that's got to be. I mean, I don't know the effort and energy that goes into it, but um, the
It's a lot.
differentiation
A
there
lot of
seems.
it.
Yeah, I bet it's more than people imagine, right?
It is because you a lot of times we're emailing back and forth and that gets lost in translation a lot. And so it's, you have to send pictures of the materials and you have to do this or that. Or I just did like I was a salon in Boyne City had my bags there, and then I was there for 2 hours, and I had some people come in and do customs that way, and which was fun. But that's what's backing me up now, and so it's like, okay, maybe that was not a good idea.
Right. Right. And again, I just what are you? What's a rough custom bag price range?
It's like, so one of them was the Wander, and that's $425, and she wanted that exact same bag, just different leathers, and so that is still 425.
Okay.
The extra large one, like that one was 500. And then she wanted another pocket for it. So we added 50 for that. And then we added another, um, something else to it. So it ended up being like more, like 700, I think.
I'll get off this pony in a second here, but the pricing them from the standpoint of like materials plus labor, whatever, you know, that seems to be an odd way to price a premium product, right? So, you know, customs start at, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm not your consumer. I think I am, but you know, customs start at 1,000, and then based on whatever you choose, it can go up in increments of a couple hundred, right? That sounds to me to be uh, a reasonable price point for a high quality custom product.
Hmm. I guess the part that scares me about going up in prices, like how do I market to that group?
Well,
Because in
yeah, yeah, I get it. Let me just give you some experience I've had in my years. Um, you know, if you had told me 20 years ago that we would be charging, you know, $7 for a drink, I would never have believed you.
hmm
And so we have always been fairly aggressive in increasing our pricing, and we rarely get pushback, if ever. So I think generally speaking, entrepreneurs, at least in the beginning stages, call it the first 5 years,
hmm
are hesitant to be aggressive about pricing. But
hmm
what I would argue is you don't know what the top end price limit is at this point. And
hmm
it would be cool to find that out, right? Like if you were started placing bags out there for 1,100 and you got no orders, okay, yeah, then you know, right? But what if you price a series of bags at 1,100 and you get 5 orders in relatively short order? To me, that's something to really experiment with. And you know, I would if I went to your site and there were bags priced at 300 and bags priced at 700 and bags priced at 1,200, uh, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't be it wouldn't be a negative, I guess is my point.
Okay.
Yeah, I have similar experiences in my career, and um, I just think about in economics, there's like a curve, it's like the price demand curve. And different people have, would be willing to buy something at different prices. And the nice thing with you is that you can give everyone the price that they're looking
Right.
for. It
Exactly.
doesn't cost you anything to put another thing up on the website, of a bag that costs $1,200 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, it helps the person paying 300 feel even better about it. And I don't think I don't mean for it to be like a trick or dishonest. I'm someone who likes to be able to look my customer in the eye and be really honest about why it costs what it costs. But I
Mm-hmm.
think if you're able to differentiate something that costs a couple grand, and then someone says, "Well, that's crazy. I don't want that." Well, you can say, "Well, I've got this great thing at 425 that
Mm-hmm.
people love," and they can feel great about that. And some people will be willing to pay a lot for, custom or whatever it is.
Yeah, that goes to the point of the luxury brands that increase price on product and see an increase in demand. I mean that is you're dealing in a product category that is unique and very different than a lot of other product categories. It is very much not a commodity, right? And so I definitely think that's something as a takeaway today to think about.
And and frankly, it's not that you just want to charge more and you're greedy. It's literally you can't grow unless you're able to better use your time. Like it's not your fault. Like you just literally can't grow doing custom bags for people at the same price as the standard
Right,
bag.
exactly.
That makes
I,
sense.
I have a quick question for you. So I'm on your website right now and I see the product here. It says custom order. Um, is that
Oh, oh, I have to take that off.
okay?
Oh,
But like, I actually think it's a good idea, right? People can go on there and click on custom order, and then they could continue down and fill out what they would like, and the size of the bag, the type of bag. I think that's I don't know what Mike and Brian would have to say to that, but I think that's a way to make your custom orders more efficient, and getting, if people want those, they can get them, but also giving them a timeline as well, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be instantaneous. The turnaround might be different for each product, right? And for a
Mhm.
custom one, it could be longer, and that's okay sometimes.
Mhm. I like that. I like that idea a lot. It's I like that idea, and I think it was Jasmine that said to give them a time period of a week. Okay, so like May 3rd, the week of May 3rd is when I can get to your bag and when I will make it. Which I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, absolutely. I know we've had actually a couple conversations in our office here just talking about honestly a lot of this, and I'm really glad that we're talking about this right now because we definitely feel that there could be a price increase, and too same thing, like your custom bag should have that premium, and then just setting yourself up to where you can have that time and allowance to do that, and it has the more sought after, um, you're very high quality, and if people have to wait for your product, they're probably going to be more than happy to do that. So I definitely think that's a great opinion as well.
What's your average time for a bag to make a medium sized bag per se?
If it's a normal tote bag, it takes about 3 hours. The Wander bag, which is the travel one, which is bigger, takes about 5 hours.
Okay. So if you have 10 hours, that's like 3 or 4 days. Or 10
Well, I
bags. Sorry, 10
could
bags.
probably get like 4 Wanderers done in a day.
Okay.
Yes, but then also too, Dominique, there's also a lot of like, and we talked about this too. You're out finding these materials and stuff too, so you're out and about like shopping, looking online, making sure that you have the right stuff in inventory, which in your mind you're probably not even thinking about as time dedicated to a project or
Right.
inventory or things along those lines.
Yes. Yes, because a lot of times I'll be making a bag and then I'll be like, oh great, I'm on it. Like I'm working on a spring collection right now, and I have this pink leather that I'm doing this little slouch purse with, and I was like, oh, I don't have the strap color for that. And so I have to, go find that. And I mean, I know where I'm getting it, but I just have to get it ordered now. But so small, like production things that, like, if I were to raise my prices, I think it would help to be able to buy more product at one time so I could produce more without running out of things, which would be a good idea.
I have two other things, but feel free to cut me off, Mike, if you got something you want to talk about. One is I just wanted to talk a little bit about, you mentioned the friend who helped you think about marketing, who works at a brewery.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds fun. I love those relationships, those kinds of relationships. And I was just thinking, one suggestion I have is like formalizing an advisory board, and
Mm-hmm.
but keeping it fun, and using it as an excuse because clearly like working with people you like and think are cool is like something that's important to you, and I can relate to that. And I use an advisory board as a group of people that I just want to talk to on a regular basis. They sharpen my thinking.
Mm-hmm.
They have expertise in other things, and it's an ask that I can make that people are excited about, and you don't really have to pay them or pay them very much. It's like, buy dinner or something like that, and it's a fun way to kind of think about, well, who would I put on my advisory board? So that's just one idea I wanted to share that I've had a lot of luck with.
Can you
Um,
define advisory board for me?
Sure. So a company might have like a board, like an official board. That's like a legal thing.
Oh, oh,
An
okay.
advisory board is like nothing. It's like I have a life advisory board of just friends that I think of as, people I want to talk to
Okay.
regularly.
Yeah.
And so there's no legal anything, it's not really any agreement. You don't need a contract. It's just like a handshake, just saying to someone that you value their time and perspective. Um, Sometimes I just say like, I'll pay you a little bit. Sometimes it's just literally dinner or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a fun exercise, I think, to think about who would I put on that. I mean, your son could be on it, and it just could be an excuse to talk to him about entrepreneurship. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Mike, do you do anything similar?
Well, I do. I mean, it's a practice that I use personally, and I talked about it last night in our AMA session, and it's this concept of I have a group of people that I run things by, but I actually don't even run them by them. I run them by them in my brain, and it's usually people that I know pretty well, and I kind of know what their response would be. But it's a way of checking myself. So I don't have any kind of a formal setup. I do have a core group of people that I reach out to though, and have conversations about things, and so I think that's great. I would advocate that it be. Uh, the interval has to be pretty spread out. Like you maybe it's twice a year you get together and sit and
Mm-hmm.
talk about where you are in the development of your business. And one of the things that I've always struggled with advisory type relationships is they want to talk about things I don't want to talk about. Right. So they want to get into, like, for my business, everybody enjoys talking about the product, right? And what products we're bringing to market. And, and that to me is not strategic. What I want to talk about is the business model I'm within, or ways that I can approach the market in a different way. And so, I think thinking through who's on it, what their purpose is, and then also what are the things that you need advice on. Like, where do you need coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and going into those relationships with that in mind, and then articulating that to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the biggest fan in the world of being an entrepreneur, but the drawback is that inside of a bigger, well-run organization, you might have mentors, and
Mm-hmm.
you might have someone give you a review. And those things, I'm cynical about those things, and a lot of times they're not done well, but if they're done well, they can help you develop, and they provide some accountability. And so in the absence of that, we as entrepreneurs have to create that for ourselves. And so even though it might feel hokey, like I like formalizing that with people. I like asking them, would you be willing to be an advisor for me in my business? I can't really pay you because I'm not making any money, but
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to meet quarterly with you. I'd like to share my goals and have you hold me accountable. And maybe you could weigh in on the things that you know a lot about. I, it's free, practically free, and provides so much value. And I just feel that you're somebody who might like like that type of a relationship.
Mm-hmm. I have a buddy, a friend of mine who is an ex-lawyer, and he has sat down with me a couple times. He works in the bank world now, and he has been so helpful in that way. And then also my marketing friend, he just, I mean, talking to him, it just all these ideas start flowing all over the place. And so those two guys are two guys that I guess I use for that. Um, and then my cousin as well. She's another one that's really good for getting ideas flowing. Um, so I guess I've already, I mean, I'm starting to write down the names now. So yeah.
I think it's like you're already basically there. I just add it to my calendar, you know,
Okay.
quarterly
Yeah.
meeting with these people, just to just make sure I continue to do it.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. The other thing is it's crazy to me that you've got this Facebook channel that you can spend time on and you get too many orders and you have to stop.
Mm-hmm.
That is that's so good. So, you know, marketing, I like to think in terms of channels. Facebook
Mm-hmm.
is a channel. You've got, maybe you build an email list, you could do ads, you could sell through stores. And I like to just think, what are the channels that are the best use of my time? And what
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing you say is you're not, I mean, for practically free, you haven't exhausted the limits of Facebook yet or
Right.
social media. Gosh, I mean, you gotta see where that ends, right? Like you gotta go to the end of the earth and just see like how many orders can I get? And I don't know how you organize your business so that you have the flexibility to do that, but I mean, I would just love to know like how long could you continue to do that and get orders?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Going into retail is something that is a channel I haven't gone into yet because part of me is like I can't, that, and I think part of it is the price point because I don't want to make half of what I'm making per bag right now. You know what I mean? So I would have to like raise the price quite a bit in order to go into retail. Um, but so that I think that would be
Well, and I think the time to go into retail is when you feel that you're not able to continue to grow without it, or you're not
yeah.
able to get the type of growth that you're looking for. And so you want like a step function, growth. But I'm not hearing you say that. I'm hearing you say like, I can sell a bunch more bags. I just don't have time to
Yeah.
make them.
Hmm. I don't know. I just want to do it all. That's the problem. Like, it's also fun.
Yeah, I think that ends up, I I spend a fair amount of time in my book about that, and I think that uh, focusing is one of the challenges for most entrepreneurs that I know.
Hmm.
And I think what I'm sensing right now is that um, streamlining the product mix, and then figuring out how to produce it more efficiently and more effectively,
Hmm.
and then finding out what the price point for that product actually is. I don't know that I sense that you don't know what the actual price point is, or what you could be getting for these bags. And so that to me, is something, if you streamline the product mix and got away from custom,
Hmm.
and picked, seven, six, seven, eight products, and made those your focus, and then marketed them aggressively, and boy, wouldn't it be great to have too many orders coming in that you couldn't fulfill them in that scenario, right? Because
Hmm.
now you're in a production problem, which is generally speaking a much easier problem to solve than a demand problem.
Hmm.
The demand problem is that's the tough one, right, to fix. And so, um, yeah, I think spending time on what bags you think have worked the best, what bags are. I think there's some consideration around how hard it is to produce a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So one bag's probably easier to produce than another, and then focusing in on the ones that are most efficient. I think that's to me uh, that would be valuable work right now at your stage of development.
Mm-hmm. All right.
I just want to
Anything?
add.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead, Jasmine.
No, I was about to say, Max, do you have anything from the heavens that you would like to add, or any insight that you would like to add as well?
um, yeah, I like what Brian said about, like, I think the retail can wait a little bit, right? We're talking about the demand is not the issue right now, and like I said earlier, I don't think it's a problem by telling them, look, it's going to be a little bit of a wait. You can contact me later on if you're not willing to wait right now. But right now, I have about of a 3 week backup or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's allowed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I love that. Go ahead.
it does scream demand. I mean, if I were to place an order and you reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got, my next 4 weeks are booked. I'll be able to get to this, 5 weeks from now." I mean, I guess I might be a little disappointed, but at the same time, I would think, "Holy smokes, a lot of people want to buy these things."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think that we create the demand, right? And we can do that with social media, and we can do that with marketing. And I think that the conversation today, I feel like I have a lot to apply to what we're doing over here too. I've got so many takeaways and so many notes. I mean, from streamlining, niching down, leveraging up, increasing prices, and just sales and marketing in general. I think that this has been a really jam-packed conversation. Dominique, do you think that you got some takeaways as well out of this?
So many. This has been wonderful. I feel honored to have this conversation with you guys. This has been really nice.
Best of luck. I love what you've got going on. I think you've got a real opportunity here. At least it feels to me that there's a real opportunity.
Thank
It's a
you.
cool brand. You sound cool. Everything's cool.
That's what we tell her all the time. It's cool. And she's got the cutest family. Yes. No, I think I'm very excited for everybody being here today. Thank you, Dominique. This was very impactful for us and for our listeners and for you, obviously. And just thank you for showing up and being here today. I'm very excited for the conversation that was had. And feel free to follow Mike and Brian elsewhere. There might be some resources on grindthebook.com or Finding Your Venture. They talk about this stuff all day long. So feel free to join them in other avenues or other channels as well. And I would like to also invite the audience to go ahead and follow everybody on stage and to reach out to Mike and Brian on other social media channels, see what they have going on. They bring impactful knowledge in everything that they do. So give them a follow. And thank you guys all so much for being here today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you guys next week at 1 p.m.
Wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
All right.
Sounds great.
Thanks so much, Mike and Brian.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Bye.